Hey everybody, this is John Zakari, and today I'm coming at you with an impressions video for the full release of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate that just came out for the Wii U. You may remember I did an impressions video of the demo for the game a little while back, and while I enjoyed it, there were a few things such as the strict time constraints and lack of difficulty when facing the smaller monster enemies that put me off a little bit. Luckily, neither of these issues are really relevant in the full release of the game. The timers for the missions I've completed so far are usually around 30 to 50 minutes, which has been more than enough time to complete them. And the smaller enemies can give players some trouble, especially if they swarm you or come at you while you're trying to harvest materials. Now with that said, this is a huge game with all sorts of stuff going on in it. There are many different types of missions the player can take on, tons of crafting from potions to armor sets, as well as each player being in charge of their own village, where you can not only set your own missions, but also delegate tasks to your residents. For players to succeed, they need to stay on top of all of these different aspects of the game. You aren't given very clear goals outside of the missions to complete, so it's very much up to you to figure out how you should spend your time and resources. This lack of direction, combined with a complicated game system, has turned many people off from this game, fearing they won't be able to get past the stiff learning curve. I'm here to tell you it's really not that bad. The game starts off really slow, giving you a bunch of very simple missions. This is actually a good thing, as the player is exposed to the various types of missions, as well as resource and crafting techniques separately. Learning all of these tasks in rapid succession can be a bit overwhelming, so I suggest once you learn something new, mess around with it for a little bit so you feel more familiar with the action. After a few missions, you should start to get the hang of things, but I suggest that you do a couple weapon and item upgrades before you get into the online mode. Most people online are looking to do more of the difficult missions, typically hunting the large monsters. If you jump into those games not knowing what to do, you and your team will probably suffer because many of these quests require the whole team to pay a fee just to attempt the quest. If a player faints, the reward for the quest goes down. Faint too many times, and your team fails the quest altogether. You do not want to be the person who jumps into a big hunt group not knowing what to do. Your team will quickly get irritated as you continue to cost them money, and you may even end up being instructed to sit on the sidelines so as not to completely screw over your team. I'm not saying this to deter anyone from getting right into the online mode, but just be mindful of what rooms you go into. When you boot up the online mode, you'll see that there are different rooms separated by player skill and goals. If you want to get into the online early, you should probably check out rooms with descriptions like gathering resources or relaxed hunts. This is where you are most likely to find people who can help you when starting out. Monster Hunter also has a very active Miiverse community, so don't hesitate to go there when looking for tips or help. Now, if you're like me and you want to be able to take some swings at the big monsters without much experience, you'll definitely want to check out the arena quests, which can be played either online or in solo mode. These missions pit you against strong monsters in a coliseum-like battle. But what's nice about it is the player is given unique gear for these challenges, including weapons and armor up front. So it's a great way to hone your fighting skills without worrying about having the necessary equipment. And you also get a good chunk of money for defeating the monster. So far, I've really enjoyed this game. The monster fights are always epic. I've had many crazy things happen to me already, including having one monster knock me off a waterfall. You have to always be on your toes, as all the monsters have special attacks that can be quite devastating, and there's also a chance of having other monsters show up during your hunt. The resource gathering, which I'm sure many people who are considering getting the game dread, actually goes by pretty fast, so it's not as tedious as you think. Much of the rare resources you need also actually come from the large monsters, and you're also given additional resources as a reward for completing missions. So you can get a lot of what you need just from doing the big hunts. These are just my initial impressions. You can expect to see my full review of the game to come soon, but for now, if you're looking for a fun experience filled with deep gameplay mechanics and hundreds of hours of content, I highly recommend giving Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate a try. Well, that just about does it for this video. Please follow me on Twitter @JohnnyZakari if you'd like to receive updates on my future news and video posts. And don't forget to check out Wii U Daily for all your Wii U news. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe. And finally, let me know your thoughts on the game in the comments. Thanks. Don't look at me.